and the Malachims, or the angels of Elohim, ascending and descending upon the Son of Man.
Okay, and so he identified him as the King of Israel. So they already knew what to expect. They were looking for the signs, and that's very important. He was talking about where was this information he was getting?
The writings.
The writings from the Torah and the prophets. And so when he saw him, he was able to identify him. So when Mashiyach said he comes in the volume of the book, it testifies a witness of him. Just from this little introduction, you should see how important it is and where Mashiyach fits in all of the book. There's nothing written in there that's not of him or about him. The whole entire book is. So when he said these things that we see the Levitical priesthood performing and stuff, all of this stuff was to be what? Just a schoolmaster, a tutor, or a teacher. Until Mashiyach will come in the fullness of these things. They will be the shadow, and he will be the actual image that projects the shadow. It's all about him. It's all about him. And so we're going to look at these things, and we're going to jump back and forth from Isaiah 53, read a little bit there, and we're going to jump back. Read a little, jump back, jump forward, and see how all of this come together. And with that being said, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So at this time, we are going to
If anyone has questions.
open the floor for anyone who have any questions or comments or what have you
Pertaining
to the lesson.
We got to put that out there.
Oh, yes, it was amazing.
We have a whole other ceremony going on now, huh?
This was amazing. I think I've never seen this explained that way. So I'm learning. I mean, the whole time I've always thought the thing with Abraham, the sacrifice that Abraham was making with souls, was about obedience, and of course about Abraham's trust in Yahuah. But I've never heard it, or I've never tied it into a shadow picture of prophetic shadow picture of Yahusha on the cross being sacrificed. So it was interesting the way that came, the way you brought that out.
Yeah, because a lot of times our perspectives come from people with a different understanding and ideology of what is written. Because, like I tell you, the biggest problem with what has taken place in the world, and especially in secular institutions, or I should say secular religious institutions, how it's, gone from the religious institution. And a lot of our colleges and universities are actually started by the religious institutions. Whether they be Presbyterian institutions such as Mercer, or Methodist institutions like Emory, was started by the United Methodists. You have several, a lot of the institutions of academia are founded by the religious institutions. So the ideology goes into those institutions as well, and they're filtered down and they trickle down to other lower institutions. So you have a perspective that's kind of make things all inclusive, but when you begin to read the scriptures, you begin to see that it's actually about this particular group of people and what happened to them. And so that's why when we begin to go and read, we see how everything is personal with Mashiyach, and the one that he loved, which being his bride, Israel. But something else takes place that goes all the way back to Eden and Adam that has to be rectified as well. See, because he has to bring all of mankind back into what we call the covenant of peace. And Israel was given a responsibility. And that responsibility was to be a light to the nations. And because they failed at doing that or ceased to do that, it causes them to fall as a nation. And now, the Israel was put in a position where the Most High even told them the nations were wicked because of them. They should have been the light to teach them the righteousness of Elohim. So now he has to use Israel to bring about, or bring into fruition, the original plan, which was to bring all of mankind into the light. So not only Israel could live or be in covenant relationship with the Father, but the nations could live harmoniously amongst themselves in righteousness as well. Because the nations were always going to maintain and stay within their borders. That's very important, that people stay within their given borders. What happens when a person goes outside of their borders? Do y'all know why we were exiled out of the Garden of Eden?
Do I know why? Because we committed sin. Because of Adam and Eve.
Did the serpent bring the sin inside the garden, or did someone venture outside of Eden?
No, the serpent came into the garden.
So Eve didn't go outside the garden?
No.
Okay then. We got a little more study to do.
What do you mean she went outside of the garden?
She went to the field.
She left outside of Eden.
The field was inside of the garden.
She brought something outside into the garden. But that's another lesson.
Okay, I gotta go back and read
Yeah.
this again.
Actually, Casado did a teaching on it.
Yeah, Casada, matter of fact, Big Brother, Mark Casada did a teaching on it.
I mean, I missed something.
You may not have been here then.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
No, I wasn't here to teach. I'm saying, but I missed something when I read it.
Yeah.
I
So we
thought
keep
all
reading.
this stuff took place inside of the garden. The tree was in the garden. The tree, in the midst of the garden was the tree of good and evil. In the midst of the garden, it said. So when she went in to get it, she had to pick it from inside the garden.
Not necessarily.
Why? If it's in the midst of the garden.
So she could have gone outside the garden?
No, what does the word midst of the garden mean? In the midst of the garden, what does that mean?
Okay, in the middle.
Right. So how is that going outside?
So when we get into these words, we're going to go back to the Hebrew.
You still ain't telling me that, no.
Because if we're going to do a lesson, I ain't going to give you a sound bite. We get the whole understanding. She went outside and she brought something inside.
Morris said he wants to call in and put on speaker if he has something to share.
Oh, yeah. Tell him, go ahead. Yeah, matter of fact, we ain't got to do that lesson. We just pull his up.
Yeah, I need to hear that one.
What's he gonna call?
What was it called?
I think it was a series too, wasn't it?
That lesson, it was a series.
Yeah, it was a series.
What was it called?
You know what? Why don't you,
Well, I guess one of y'all so the camera can pick it up, I guess.
He finna call that out?
No,
shalom, Shabbat shalom, Moray.
Toyo.
Appreciate that, Moray. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, Moray.
Shalom, shalom, Mr. God. Shalom, shalom,
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna cover a lot of ground because dealing with Isaiah 53 is so much in that, but it's so much more that you have to understand before you even try to tackle that to be able to see what's actually going on. But you're looking at one offering, but there are several offerings taking place in the one passage. But because if you don't understand how these offerings work, and how Mashiyach fulfills all of them, you will miss something, and you won't be able to understand what Isaiah the 53rd chapter is talking about. Most people have never taken time to look at, go to Leviticus and look at the different types of offerings and to see what's required. And the steps and procedures of how to present them to Yahuah and to sacrifice them. So if you don't do that, or if we don't cover that, you won't really understand Isaiah 53, but it should be self-explanatory, but you can see how people can get thrown off by it. But we're going to do that. We're going to look at that thoroughly. But like I'm saying, it's going to be a series because we can't just do it in 1, 2, or 3 lessons because there's so much to understand. We just have to, I'm hoping we can kind of shorten it to about 5 or 6. My nerves start getting bad. And I have to come out And so hopefully we can do it in about 5 or 6 lessons. That way we can make sure we cover everything. But one thing, you know what I'm glad about? And one thing y'all are going to soon find out. This book is not that difficult. Once you get the right understanding and a certain understanding, everything brings you back full circle, right back to one thing. Because everything is tied in together to one subject matter. You can't talk about the lamb without talking about a marriage. You can't talk about the marriage or the lamb without talking about the nation of Yashra'al. Everything is tied into, really, everything is tied into the lamb. There's not anything that we can discuss that's not tied into that. The book starts with the lamb, it ends with the lamb. One man falls, and the lamb has a job to what? Cover. It also going to take the lamb to do what? To restore a people and mankind. It takes the lamb to do it. When we read in Revelation, it talks about what? No man was found worthy to read from that book, but that there was one who was found worthy, and was he who, what the angels begin to sing, said he's worthy. He that was slain for what? For many of the nations, found worthy to read from the book. You can't get past the lamb. Do y'all know that everything we read in this book? Do y'all not understand everything is about what? When we get to Sinai, and they commit that sin of the golden calf, from that point, no, I take that back. Let's go back to Adam. When they sinned in the garden, everything in the book is built off of what? A sacrificial system. The entire book is built off a sacrificial system. So you got to understand the sacrifices, the animals involved. From the pigeon to the turtle dove to the sheep, the lamb, the ram, all of them. The bulls. So if the book is based off of a sacrificial system, you have to know that system and know the importance and how it works. And I'm going to digress right there.
I don't have a question, I have more of a statement. I really appreciated this lesson, it's a really good lesson. I think it shows the correlation is just one example of the Mashiyach in the Old Testament and the New Testament, because you see the correlation now. He's always been there from the beginning.
From the beginning.
To the end. So I like that you tie the Old Testament and the New Testament, and you bring it out that people see he was in the beginning and the end. So I like that breakdown, understanding.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, that is awesome. This has been awesome.
And the sad part is this is just the
Yeah.
surface of it. Because this book is so deep. Y'all might think I'm lying. I actually read, and I guess I'm not any better than you guys. I'm not on any higher level than you guys. There's an understanding that he has given me for certain things. And a lot of it is hard for me to read without just shed. Sometimes I have to close the book because I just start crying. Because I actually see what he has done, what he's doing, what he has done. And the lengths that Yahuah went through for the nation of Yashra'al. It's hard to read it and keep dry eyes. Because you're actually looking at it. I kid y'all not. I used to get off of work at 7 o'clock every morning. I would go get breakfast, come home about 8 o'clock a.m., I'd be out of the shower by 8:30. I started reading and studying from 8:30 a.m. Now, I a.m. till like 10 o'clock p.m. I wouldn't leave the house or anything. My dad would be so mad with me. He was like, son, you got to get out of this house. You got to go do something. That's not good. You laying up here in this bed with books all over the place. I said, I am going somewhere. He just didn't know the journey I was going to take. But that's what I did because I was seeing things. He was showing me things. And when I met Chief Moray Lamayu, I know it was like 2 to 3 years. We talked for just about every day. He would just call me, I called him, would discuss some things, he'd go over stuff with me on the phone and just teach me stuff. And he knew I wasn't where I needed to be, but he never just came down hard on me. He always said, okay, he said, I see what you're reading, how you might get that understanding. He said, let's go back and read something. He said, have you ever considered this? He said, let's read something. And I kid you not, before he could give me the answer, by him saying, let's go back and read something, I would just pause and the Most High would just give it to me right then. I'm like, man, so it was a lot of stuff. I started out, I was wrong. I thought I was right. But I was humble enough, and I love Yahuah enough because I didn't want to be over his people any kind of way. I would humble myself and go back and tell people, hey, I made a mistake right here. I thought this what this was, but let me show you something, what I learned. And that's what I did. And then I met Big Bro, Moray Casadaba. And even with that situation, I've learned so much on Moray Casadaba. You know what I'm saying? There are things that he's taught that it took what I knew already to a higher level. It gave me more understanding. And so I was talking about talking to someone. This congregation that I started, it actually started out of a very dear friend of mine, her dining room. And matter of fact, I'm headed to her house when we leave here, and I asked y'all to pray for her too. Her name is Anna Hudson. Miss Anna, she's in the walk, but she's on the hospice care now, so they're going to give her, a short while. So that's where I was when I missed the other Shabbat. And so as soon as I leave here today, and I apologize for the Hebrew language, I promise y'all we're going to get back into that, but I have to go spend time with her because the Ruach put it in my spirit. And so what? What about?
Do you want this recorded?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. So I'm going there to spend time with her because I think it was like 3 weeks ago. My wife, she always hear me talk about and speak of Miss Anna and John, her husband. It's Anna this, Anna that. And so the Ruach had been telling me for about 4 months, go see Anna. But let me tell you, my job has had me all over the place. I've been working for this week. I've been working for the last couple of days. I've been working 18-hour shifts. And 2 Fridays.